The College Football Playoff Committee got it right! My name is Chris Lee Moore of RowdyC.com, and I promise we will get back to our regular comedic reviews in due time. But for now, there's something I need to take care of after weeks of hearing people on the web who have no idea how sports are supposed to work. Now, full disclosure for all watching, and you can judge me for this as you see fit. I have never been the biggest fan of American football. I tolerate it at the college and high school levels while I refuse to watch the NFL on principle. I went to a college that hasn't played intercollegiate football in 40 years, and I, in fact, will have a video out soon about all of that as well. However, as someone who has watched many sports over 3 decades and even reported on them in college, I feel a voice of common sense needs to be spoken among the reactionary talking heads and idiot fans who clearly act like they have never watched anything other than major college football and need a lesson or two on how the real sports world works. So let's begin. Last week, the 12-team field for the college football playoff at the Division 1A or FBS level was set for this postseason, and there has been more than a little controversy surrounding the picks. I won't wear you down with the entire field, but the crux of the controversy comes from 2 teams being left out of the field, Texas and Notre Dame, while the field did include Tulane and James Madison. This has led to people claiming that this proves the system is broken after just 2 years of the 12-team format, saying who got in and who was left out will lead to games no one wants to watch. At the same time, it has also led to people ridiculing one particular school, Notre Dame, especially after the Fighting Irish chose not to play in a bowl game following their CFP snub, with many saying they got what they deserved, and if Notre Dame wants to be in the playoff ever again, they should be forced to relinquish their independence and join one of the already bloated mega conferences. Let me say this first. I agree that Notre Dame should have been left out of the field, and if they want to remain independent, they should be held to a higher standard. Basically, if Notre Dame loses 2 games on the season, they should not get in. But be prohibited from ever being in the playoff just for being independent? How insane are you people? Are you not aware that there are other independents at college football's highest level? Should they be banned as well? Or are you just upset that Notre Dame is the only one that can get its own major TV deal? UConn is an independent in 1A football specifically because they want the remaining sports, especially basketball, in the Big East Conference, which no longer plays 1A football. So, if UConn ever managed to build a winning football program, they should also be banned from the playoff just because they want to be in a good basketball conference that keeps their old rivalries with Georgetown and Villanova? Oh, but Notre Dame gets to play cupcakes every season and still argue to get in because of their name. What? Notre Dame this past season played 4 opponents that were ranked in the top 25 at the time and another that would win its own conference championship. And they won 3 of those 5 games. Notre Dame has to plan its schedule 10 years in advance, unlike teams in a conference who only need 5 years. Do you not comprehend how no one can predict how good an opponent will be that far in advance? Personally, I'd take a Notre Dame schedule over someone who plays in the bloated SEC and gets the luck of the draw in not having to play Alabama or Georgia any particular season. And you really think playing in a conference is needed to get into the playoff? Yeah, tell that to Duke, who won the ACC championship and still got left out in favor of Miami, which all you people say was the right choice. Tell it to Army, who joined a conference like you demand, which means they can only schedule one open game a year, won their conference championship last year, and they were left out. And again, you all agreed with that. And again, this is coming from someone who agrees that the committee got it right this year in leaving Notre Dame out. Which leads us to the team that deserved even more to be left out of the field, Texas! The whiny Orange, as one Mr. Randy Galloway loved to call them, lived up to that name by complaining that the only reason they got left out is because they dared to go to Ohio State to open the season and lost there. So what's the point of scheduling big matchups in September if you're just going to get punished for doing it? Well, no, you didn't get left out because you lost to Ohio State. You were left out because you lost to a Florida team that only won 4 games all season. And after that, you needed overtime to beat both Kentucky and Mississippi State, 2 of the SEC's bottom feeders. But let's get back to that Ohio State game, shall we? Texas has now lost 2 straight games to Ohio State in as many years. And in that same 2-year span, they have lost 3 straight to Georgia. You wanted to be in the SEC and face this supposedly superior competition, Horns. You want the respect? Learn to beat those teams! Though I will give them credit that Texas says they will still play in a bowl game, unlike Notre Dame. Which brings us to the one team that also got left out and handled the snub far better than Notre Dame or Texas, Vanderbilt. If there is one person I have come to actually respect out of all of this, it's Vanderbilt coach Clark Lea. He had the courage to say his team takes all the responsibility for not beating the teams they need to in order to get where they want to be. If you want to be in the supposed biggest, baddest conference in all of football, you eventually need to step up and beat that tougher competition. You can only play the hand you are dealt, especially in this age of bloated super conferences where you can't even play everyone in your own league, so take care of your own business. Which, by the way, is exactly what James Madison Tulane did. The CFP states that the top 5 ranked conference champions automatically get into the field, and that's exactly what happened. But this hasn't stopped people from saying this is why the CFP needs to abandon both automatic bids and the selection committee completely and just pick the 12 best teams based on what? The opinions of idiots in the media? Bringing back the BCS computers? The same computers who left USC out of the title game in 2003, even after they were consensus number 1 after Oklahoma lost the Big 12 title? But Tulane already got beat big by Ole Miss this season. It's just gonna happen again. If you put Vandy or Texas in there instead, it would be guaranteed to be a great game! An instant classic! Do we really need to go over how many playoff games last year featuring only your big name schools ended in blowouts, including the final game? And it's not like the CFP this year has set up any other rematch in these opening round games. Oh, wait a minute! But look at the strength of schedule. These little schools don't play any tough opponents. Yeah, whose fault is that? How many big schools do you think are knocking on the door to offer to play Tulane, especially on Tulane's home field? Here's a brief summary of what goes on in the world of college football. You little sisters of the poor never play anyone tough, so you don't deserve to get into a major bowl game. Okay, we want to play you guys next season. No, we're not gonna do that. This is how the deck is always stacked against the small schools and why the strength of schedule argument is ball honky. But hey, maybe they're right. I mean, it's not like there are any other sports out there that use the same format of automatic bids and a selection committee. except for every single other sport in all of the NCAA. College basketball has more than 30 automatic bids into its postseason tournament, and those small schools getting in and potentially upsetting big university is what has made it must-watch television. It's called March Madness for a reason. But football can't have a 68-team field, so it will never work that way. Except it does work at the lower levels of college football. 1AA has a 24-team playoff field where 11 spots are automatic bids for conference champions, and the remaining 13 spots are chosen by, are you ready for this? A committee! But football is different from basketball. An upset can happen when it's only 5-on-5. It can never happen in a sport as big as football. How fucking ignorant are you people? Boise State over Oklahoma, 2006 Fiesta Bowl. TCU over Wisconsin, 2011 Rose Bowl. Tulane over USC, 2023 Cotton Bowl. That's my short list from just the 21st century alone. And you know who already has won a college football playoff game this year? Yale! First ever playoff appearance for the Ivy League, and their representative came back from down 42-14 with a period and a half to go to beat Youngstown State, a program with 4 1AA national championships. And then the next week, they almost beat Montana State, a program with 3 national titles. But that's FCS. Youngstown State isn't Ohio State. Really? You think a school that doesn't even offer athletic scholarships had a better chance to win a playoff game than Tulane will against Oregon? When Tulane already has a bowl win in the last 3 years against another West Coast team that bolted the Pac-12 for the big. But with NIL now legal, it will be more impossible for these schools. The big boys with the most money will stockpile talent and always win. How goddamn naive are you? What do you think those big schools were doing for the past 100 years? Do you really think schools like Texas and Ohio State and even Notre Dame weren't paying players under the table for years? They just got away with it while small schools like SMU didn't because the latter didn't have friends within the NCAA. Read a payroll to meet and watch Pony Excess for frack's sake. I'm no fan of NIL, but if anything, it's going to make the playing field even more level now that other schools who have rich boosters can do what they want legally. How do you think Texas Tech got to where they are now? With the transfer portal and everyone now being able to pay, Texas and Alabama won't be able to scoop up every single 5-star recruit and make them have to wait until their junior years to play when a school in the American Conference can offer them more playing time immediately. So guess what? You're going to see more cases of a Northern Illinois knocking off a Notre Dame. You know who you people are? You're the same people who said the AFL would never beat the NFL in the Super Bowl before Joe Namath and the Jets came along. Who thought Muhammad Ali could never beat Sonny Liston or that Buster Douglas would never beat Mike Tyson. Who thought the United States hockey team could never beat the Soviets. No matter how you look at it, the people overseeing major college football are constantly proving to be the dumbest primates in the entire universe. These are people Douglas Adams would have made fun of if he was still alive and American. Here's what needs to be said to all the Brandon Walkers and other sports podcasters out there. It's not about you in this case. College sports are first and foremost for the athletes, the kids trying to better themselves and make a future for themselves through their athletic abilities and want the opportunity to perform with the best on the biggest stage, regardless of how well idiots like you who never played at even the Division III level think they would do. The only other people who the games are meant for are the real fans, the students and alumni of those schools, the people who actually put their heart, their soul, their passion, and their money into those schools and their teams, who care about those teams winning and losing as much as the athletes do, and also wanted to see their school's name get to be on the national stage even for just one day. It's not for people like you, who likely never even went to a major football college, whose only connection to the game has always ever been through a TV screen, and who has always looked at athletes like animals meant to be paraded around for your enjoyment. You want that? Stick to the pros, because college sports are meant to be more than just entertainment for the unwashed masses. I'll gladly watch James Madison put out their best effort against Ole Miss than see Texas choke against Ohio State or Georgia for the 999th consecutive time. So here's hoping all of you get Indiana versus Ohio State again for the championship, and Indiana wins by 40. Rowdy out!